Hello, in this new video for my evaluation, I just wanted to critically assess the production skills and processes that I've used. So I'll go through each different parameter of the film and take each one at a time. And whilst doing that, as I go, I'll critically assess the strengths and weaknesses of the workflow and processes that I've used, and also look for more outcomes for further consideration into the future to make some recommendations for myself technically within the pre-production stage, production stage and post-production stage. So I'll give it a go. So with my finished video, I just want to go over the areas for development and highlight them, just explain why and just offer up a couple of solutions. So before, when I spoke about in the film as a whole, my title, it's not inviting, it's not exciting, and I feel like it's a little bit odd, it stands out. And as I explained before, I would have it just as this pan start on. Let's see if I can get it. As this pan stops here, I would have it just coming up on screen just here. And then as it switches to the clock, it cuts off. It cuts with the cut, if you get me. Moving along, I'll just talk about the process and evaluation of the editing part of it, the editing part of my video. Yes, altogether, getting my thirds right, obviously the black bars, and then having to move my video down like I've explained before in task 2 within the editing section. It doesn't jump too much here, it's making sure that it was cut at the right moment so it didn't look like there was too much of a jump. With pouring the kettle, the water into the kettle, so that it's on this kind of third up here, and then the hand stirring is on that third, and then the hand comes in from that side again to grab the cup. Again, her eye line is on the top third, making sure that when I was editing that everything was going to run smoothly, going to cut together, that it's not an effort to watch. You know where you are when you sat and you're watching it. You're not jumping all over the place, and especially with the slow kind of pace of it through its entirety, it's better to, well, it was better for me, and I thought it was better to make everything run into one another. Also with the editing and with the filming, I wanted to make it so that everything was kind of moving but not intentionally. There were some still shots, but that's when she was still. Movement shots when she's moving. So here you've got the slow reveal of the men's shoes, which works well. We're not just watching her put on her shoes. We are actually seeing the shot progress into the viewer noticing something else. So it's making sure those edits and those cuts are right. So from that one to that one, yes, she has to be picking up the keys and she goes to turn around. Then if I just skip through to the edit at the end, there's this one here. She pulls it, puts it down. So she puts the glass down, picks up the frame and walks out, but fade to black as well, to show a passing of time. So that edit, there's been no fade to blacks up until this point. And then here you go, you've got the fade up from black and the fade back out, show a passing of time, and then fade back in. In theory, if I go back to the editing, it would have made a little bit more sense to maybe, depending on how it looked, to have it fade up to show maybe cut in, fade down to black from the previous shot, cut in, fade to black at the end of the clip. So fade to black here, and instead of fade to black in, just cut to the motion, because they're all moving, but then still have the fade to black at the end. Then cut, have it slowly move down, and then fade to black, and so on, and then in the back. So editing works well. The end's quite, the whole pace of it, slow in the morning, quicker in the middle part, and then slow again at the end, that goes in time with the music. Considerations for the future for editing is obviously make sure the story flows, that the eye line flows for not only on screen but for the viewer as well. And rule of three, let's see. Changing my fade to blacks, using them sparingly and only when needed. So yes, I only used it for the first time at the end and then carried on using it, but I think I could cut them down by experimenting a little bit more with those and not just chucking them in, I suppose. So through that, I've offered some areas for development, to highlighted some of the positives and ways that I could apply them in the future by explaining the further considerations that I would have when making another film. So now we'll go through the sound. Now the sound's going to be quite quick because I know I've explained the sound in quite a few of my other videos. Strengths of my sound, to start with, works well. It's blank, the same as she is. It's not overly complicated, and the end has the song which works in conjunction with everything else, the pace of the editing. So even though the sound is lacking some quality due to the speed of having to put it together and not working as well as I should have with the schedule. The considerations that I would have for my sound in the future are to make more time for it, like I have done previously. Also export my sound uncompressed, whereas the one that I've submitted hasn't. I submitted compressed sound, which I didn't check to start with. Well, on the export settings. So in the future, make sure that I dedicate more time to sound design to get those finishing touches just right. And the next part that I am going to evaluate is that's it. I've covered my points for that. Thanks very much for